This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, frustration from Dunedin police. They're angry the don't drink and drive message is being ignored. Praise for our local tourism industry as the government outlines plans for the next 10 years. And Dunedin's tourism attractions come under the spotlight at an annual conference being hosted in the city. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Callum Proctor. Too many locals are driving while drunk, despite the well-known risks and consequences. That's according to police, who have just apprehended more than a dozen intoxicated drivers in the city. And they say it's putting all residents at risk.
Local police are frustrated, having just caught 17 drink drivers on city streets. And although more than 1,600 were processed at weekend checkpoints, police say that's 17 drink drivers too many.
We picked up a range of different people, ages, occupations. There certainly wasn't one theme or trend about those apprehended. It just happened to be a number of different people throughout Dunedin that chose to drink and drive and make those stupid errors. All
were over the new drink driving limit of 250 micrograms of alcohol per litre of breath. The highest recording 935 micrograms, more than double the old limit. Aitken says local incidents of drink driving dropped off when the new legislation came in, but residents are slipping into old habits.
It would appear that there's a bit of complacency now, and people are now choosing to take some risks and hope to get home with some alcohol on board. So really disappointed.
Officers are committed to curbing local incidents of drink driving. They say there's no justification for it and no room for compromise when lives are at stake.
With the lowered limits down at 250, the message is if you've had something to drink, don't drive, because you're potentially putting yourself in a position where you're going to be over the limit. So there is no excuse. There's no, maybe I'm going to be okay. If you've had a drink, don't drive.
Police see firsthand the trauma caused by intoxicated drivers, and they'll continue to set up checkpoints to prevent further crashes. Rosie Mannins, 39 Dunedin News.
Police are investigating the death of an elderly man who was hit by a car while crossing the road in Fairfield. No one's been arrested in relation to the incident, which occurred at about 7 o'clock last night. 86-year-old Fairfield man Albert Wolfe, known as Bert, was hit at the corner of Flower Street and Main South Road. He was seriously injured and died in hospital. The driver of the car was an 88-year-old Mosgiel man who was uninjured. It's the second recent crash in which an elderly driver has hit an elderly pedestrian, causing death. The last case happened in Mosgiel. The government is praising local initiatives to boost tourism. Associate Tourism Minister Paula Bennett is in town outlining priorities for the next decade, and she says the creation of Enterprise Dunedin is a huge positive for the city.
Picking the brain of a prominent politician. University students quiz Cabinet Minister Paula Bennett during her visit to the Tourism Department on campus. She's in Dunedin to discuss the tourism sector and praises the creation of Enterprise Dunedin as a great move.
I think it's important that the Mayor and the councillors have set up Enterprise Dunedin, that one place where you can go that's looking at how you attract people here, the kind of experience they're having, what they're spending. It needs that kind of regional perspective.
Bennett says Dunedin's tourism sector is doing well, and students like these are the key to ensuring that continues. She says research is crucial for the recognition of tourism trends, and one student's pleased the government's taking advantage of big industry as cruise ship tourism and technology initiatives expand.
I think it's really interesting to see that they're considering so many different avenues for tourism development, that they're looking at it from a policy and an infrastructure and an employment, recruitment and retention perspective. It really gives me a lot of hope for increased stability within the tourism development.
Bennett says tourism in Otago has a distinctly personal touch, and locals play a big part in giving visitors a positive experience. She says the government's now making domestic tourism a priority, encouraging Kiwis to explore their own backyard.
We've had a percentage increase already, actually 1.3% decrease in international, but a huge increase in those travelling domestically, so overall around a 6% increase. And we'd like to see that continue.
Bennett's reaffirmed the government's commitment to growing tourism, including within Dunedin. She says the city helps to attract foreigners to New Zealand, stimulating crucial economic growth. David DeLorean, 39, Dunedin News.
A new church is being proposed for Mosgiel, with developers seeking resource consent from the City Council. The Glenelg Gospel Trust wants to subdivide a 5-hectare Factory Road section and establish a house and church on site. It's currently rural zoned land and consent is required to subdivide it into smaller lots. Developers also want to create a large car parking area alongside the church. The Council's accepting submissions on the proposal until the 11th of September. The city's buoyant tourism sector is receiving a boost as industry leaders promote local attractions. More than 200 movers and shakers are in Dunedin for an annual tourism conference, and they're about to take what they see of the city to the world.
Things are looking up for the local visitor industry, with about 230 industry leaders in Dunedin learning all the city has to offer. That's thanks to Enterprise Dunedin's successful bid to host the annual Tourism Export Council conference, beating 5 alternative destinations.
We were given the opportunity to put a bid in for the conference. TechNZ is great at holding the conference at various parts around New Zealand, and we put a bid in this time last year, and we were lucky enough to win it.
Abercrombie says the city's tourism is booming with an increase in international and domestic visitors. They're bringing much needed business after the recent recession, and its growth locals hope will continue, partly as a result of this conference.
They obviously are able to influence a large number of itineraries that are created by overseas agents, and the more that we can get that include Dunedin, the more our profile will be built, and hopefully we'll attract a lot more people. So it's a very important group of people for us, and we're really thrilled that we've got the tech conference here.
The Tourism Export Council represents inbound tourism operators in New Zealand. Chairman Martin Horgan says they're the ones who encourage a substantial number of foreigners to travel down under and explore the country. And he says each year a different region's showcased in conjunction with the conference.
We'd love to take it to the regions. It's a great way of showcasing the regions to the wider tourism industry and let them understand and appreciate just what the different regions have to offer. It's great to be out of the cities, and we're loving being in Dunedin so far this week.
He says the event's not all presentations and lecture slides. Delegates get to experience the best Dunedin has to offer, including Larnac Castle and Orokonui Eco Sanctuary. Attractions they'll recommend to clients and a welcome boost for the local economy. Ruby McAndrew, 39 Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, we meet a Dunedin high school student who's a champion public speaker, and later details of a funding boost which will enable schools to teach more foreign languages.
A lifestyler to me is a person maybe wanting to escape the hustle and bustle of a big city, wanting some animals, maybe able to grow their own veggies, have chickens, get their own hens. A lifestyle block can be your supermarket. Just a good way of living, and a lot of people enjoy that rather than being in a city. A very sustainable way to live.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
Discover New Zealand's most innovative museum, Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. 14 stunning galleries, 3 distinct architectural styles, and 1 million intriguing stories are yours to discover at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Open daily next to Dunedin Railway Station and with free admission. Toitu Otago Settlers Museum.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's Oat Singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's Oat Singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's Oat Singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
I understand now how economics can affect global warming.
And I found out how grass growth in New Zealand affects Fashion Week in Milan.
I can even tell you how smartphone technology affects the survival of mountain gorillas.
Sorry.
Because at the Otago Business School, it's not just about the world of business, it's how business affects the world.
I'm Kim. Michaela.
David. And this is our place in the world.
Take your place in the world.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Hi, I'm Mike Kernahan, Chief Executive of the Cancer Society, Otago and Southland Division. On 28th of August, we celebrate 25 years of Daffodil Day. Daffodil Day helps us provide care, comfort and hope to people who have a cancer diagnosis and their families. It helps us run health promotion programs so there might be less cancer in the future, and it funds vital cancer research. So please give generously this Daffodil Day. Text HOPE to 469 to donate $3 or visit daffodilday.org.nz and help us make this Daffodil Day the biggest and best yet.
Moving around the corner, overseas, Best Removals Otago Limited, specialists in household removals and business relocations, as well as packing materials, secure storage. Best Removals can do it all. 0800 266 834.
Big Orange for all your movies, records, books and games. Pre-loved needs and vinyl records, 45s, DVDs. A South Dunedin family-owned business for over 15 years. Check us out on Facebook, opposite Westpac on the sunny side of King Edward Street.
Tune into Girls Talk on Dunedin Television, where we show you what's hot in Dunedin.
Welcome back. Retail sales are easing after strong gains in recent quarters. Sales were worth $750 million in the June quarter. That's a small increase on last year, but shows a slowing down in the market overall. The number of sales are also dropping, modest in size compared to the first half of the year. Online sales are ahead of more traditional retail transactions, and the biggest quarterly decrease has been in the fuel sector. And on that note, let's take a look at today's financials. And to the markets, the NZX 50 finishing the day down 17 points, now to 5,711. And to the exchange rates, a good day for the New Zealand dollar up against all of the major currencies that we follow here. Well, a local teenager has established himself as a top public speaker. Jacoby Kohu-Morris is the head boy at Logan Park High School, and he's here to highlight his latest success. Good evening, Jacoby.
Kia ora.
So tell us about the competition that you've just recently won.
So I've been lucky enough to win the National Lions Young Speechmaker competition. So that's for people between 17 and 21 around the country. You go through the regionals first and then to the nationals on a topic of your choice.
So how many other speakers were you up against in the final?
I think it was something about 12, yeah.
So what was your particular speech about?
So I spoke about the 100th anniversary of the Gallipoli landings. I think it's significant this year, and not only for young people to understand and to commemorate. But for New Zealanders in general, I spoke about how those who came home brought back with them a sense of leadership, resilience and courage, which I think went on to shape the New Zealand identity, and you'll see that in how we became an egalitarian society. We became the most equal society on earth, and I made the point that nowadays we've got 280,000 Kiwi kids living in poverty, growing inequality rates, and these things don't look like they're being solved. And so I made the point that, would our forebears who fought for our nation, what would they think of that?
And your speaking success has allowed you to travel as well.
Yeah, so I went over with the New Zealand Defence Force to Gallipoli to commemorate the 100th anniversary there. So I was there at Anzac Day, and it was just the most moving occasion. And walking through some of those cemeteries, it's really hits home how significant it was to us as a country.
What other big speeches have you given this year, Jacob?
Yeah, so the travel allowed me to go because I won the regional ANZ RSA Cyril Bassett VC speech competition and came second in the national one there. So 25 young people, including myself, went over, and we all got, we all had a great time and remembered why we were there.
How would you say public speaking has helped you in other aspects of life or your study?
Yeah, well, I think, I was lucky to be elected the head boy of my school, and so with that, you need to show a lot of leadership and a lot of public speaking involved in that, whether or not that's speaking at assembly or speaking at different events. It's helped me learn how to represent our school and our whānau and community.
What makes a good speaker? How have you become a good speaker?
Well, I don't pretend to be an expert on it, but I think a good speaker is one who can communicate a message and bring the audience with you in believing what you're saying, and hopefully some of the solutions you bring to the table they'll follow through on after the speech competition.
So this is your final year at secondary school at Logan Park. What are your plans at this stage after secondary school?
Yes, so I'm going to Otago University next year. I'll do a Bachelor of Laws in Commerce. That's sort of the area I'm looking at for now anyway.
A dream job in mind?
Well, I think hopefully after having a career in law or commerce or what have you, I think the big goal is maybe in Parliament one day, because I think that's where you can really affect the change that you want to see. If you look at some of my speeches talking about the inequality, the poverty, I think that Parliament's the perfect platform to voice those views and to enact change.
Any more speaking engagements coming up soon?
No, that's the last one, and so that's why it was really great to finish on that high. Working for 5 years up until that point and finally coming away with a national win.
All right, well, congratulations on that once again, and good luck for the rest of your final year at Logan Park.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jacoby. All right, after the break on 39 Dunedin News, a funding boost will enable more Asian languages to be taught in Dunedin schools, and the government claims waiting times are improving for patients needing surgery.
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success, and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new all black pack. Call now for the Sportsville special 0800 502 402.
For 30 years, Southern Clams have harvested New Zealand littleneck clams in the coastal waters of Otago. Hand harvesting to order at the right place and time ensures perfection of every clam you eat. New Zealand littleneck clams, harvested for you by Southern Clams.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
She's 21 metres long with a 6.7 metre beam. She can support diving, seafloor mapping and sampling, deep water measurements, and has onboard laboratories. She has a range of 1,000 nautical miles, which means the Polaris 2 can take your studies further than you ever thought possible. My name's Will Raymond, and this is My Place in the World.
Take your place in the world. Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Oh, lifestyler can be anybody. We look at a lifestyler as someone who perhaps has been a farmer and is retiring into a smaller block. It could be someone who's working here in Dunedin and has a few acres at home. Could be mum and the kids with the pony on an acre. You know, it's anyone that's got a little bit of land rather than just the quarter-acre section.
Local high school pupils are getting more access to foreign languages than ever before. 5 Dunedin schools are receiving a share of the government's $10 million fund for Asian language programs. And one school's leading the way to ensure students near and far will benefit.
Broadening the minds of secondary students through language. A new Korean class is being introduced at Logan Park High School thanks to recent government funding to promote Asian languages in schools. The funding also allows both Japanese and Mandarin Chinese classes to grow within the school. And Head of Languages teacher Barbara Fitzsimons says the school's in a good position to facilitate the classes.
With the ability to have the video conferencing as well, we can make up classes because you could have a student from anywhere in New Zealand joining that class. So that's a really advantageous thing to do.
Fitzsimons says the scheme enables students to learn the languages they want to. And many are seizing that opportunity, including Year 12 student Ava Straw, one of the first to put her hand up to learn Mandarin Chinese.
It's a language that is growing more and more in a global sense, and so I feel that learning it would be, first of all, extremely useful, and also it just looks like so much fun. Like truly, it's a really fantastic language to learn.
While at Logan Park, Straw is also learning French. She says languages are a good way to learn about other cultures as the world becomes increasingly globalised. And Mandarin Chinese teacher Dr. Ling Zhang agrees, having seen her class numbers increase tenfold as students become more aware of China's world influence.
They hear the name China, Chinese nowadays much more than before, because if you go to some supermarkets or like warehouse and you see products made in China, so kind of like exposure's there.
Zhang says learning Asian languages is far easier than people first think, despite having to learn new characters. A theory that will soon be put to the test when the city's high school students are offered additional language options in the new year. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Despite widely canvassed problems with the Southern District Health Board, politicians say surgeries are up. The government's claiming victory for speeding up the waiting time of first surgical assessments. Just over 23,000 Southern patients received a first surgical assessment in the last financial year. That's a 15% increase compared to 7 years ago. The government says thousands of patients used to wait more than 6 months for assessments, and that number's greatly reduced. The waiting list for elective surgeries at Dunedin Hospital has come under scrutiny recently. Now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. Police are frustrated with the high number of drink drivers caught on city streets at the weekend as warnings go unheeded. Cabinet Minister Paula Bennett is in the city, meeting university students and praising local initiatives to boost tourism. and more than 200 conference delegates are sampling the best local attractions to promote nationally and abroad. And now let's have a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. We welcome in Phil Somerville. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Callum. I thought today we might start towards the back of the paper with the sport. Our talented rugby writer Steve Hepburn's speculating on the All Black World Cup team and the outside backs, which is causing a lot of discussion around the place. We move into the feature pages. It's fresh tomorrow, and the main feature is about a woman, a fashion designer, works with wool, merino wool, and it's headed from high street to from high country to high street. So also plenty of recipes in the wine column tomorrow. Don't forget the opinion pages. It's one I look after, so I should get a plug in for that occasionally, shouldn't I? And then towards the front, 9 new restaurants and coffee bars opening in Dunedin. It's a real coffee lovers' paradise these days. And also this tourism matter, we're being told from the north that our hotel facilities are pretty average and we depend too much on wildlife, and we've got the Mayor reacting to those comments.
All right, thanks Phil. Tomorrow's ODT. Now time for a look at local weather.
Weather Report proudly brought to you in association with Silberhorn Sportsville.
And starting with today's city view taken of the Taieri Plains. 3 p.m. temperatures today, 13 in the central city, 15 at the Gardens and 17 on the Taieri. Situation, a cold front moves across the South Island tonight, followed by a southwesterly airflow. That anticyclone will move on to New Zealand by the end of the week. Around the main towns in the lower South Island for tomorrow, showers for Invercargill and 10, a fresh sou'wester and showers for Gore and 10 also for Tiano tomorrow and Alexandra. Moderate sou'westers with some cloud, a high of 12. Queenstown, a fresh westerly, cloud increasing, the high 12 there for Oamaru. Some sunshine with a bit of cloud and 13. Moderate sou'westers for Wanaka and 12. And Twizel tomorrow, it's a bit of cloud and 12. For Dunedin tonight, the odd shower and a low of 3. Tomorrow, a mostly fine day, but evening showers with a southwest change, the high 12 and the low 4. For Thursday, morning showers and then fine. Thursday's high is 10 and the low 5. Finally to the Southern Clams tidal and fishing information. High tide is just after 6:30 tomorrow morning, followed by low tide 20 past 1 in the afternoon. And fishing rated as good for tomorrow, best at around about 3:45. And that's our news for this Tuesday from all the 39 Dunedin News team. Have a very good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New